Hey everybody, you are very welcome to another show of DKTalks with myself, Christina Quigley, and my amazing friend.
Darko, hi guys, how are you? Nice to meet you all.
So today we're kicking off the show. We've got a really jam-packed show today. We're talking all about NFTs, something that I am very suspicious about. I don't really have a big, huge, high regard for it, but now that it's exploding in the hospitality industry, we felt like we need to bring this show to you guys so that you can understand what NFTs are, what they can do for you. So let's kick it off. Everyone hears this acronym, NFT. We see dodgy pictures. We see expensive bottles of champagne. We see everything to do with NFT, but we don't really understand it. So, Darko, do you want to explain what is an NFT?
So, in very simple words, an NFT is a non-fungible token, which is a non-interchangeable unit of data stored on a blockchain. So it can be sold and traded. So it can be different type of NFTs. It started with art, photos, and JPEGs, but now every day and every week we see explosion of new possibilities like videos, audios, recipes, many other things which can be as a collectible item stored on a blockchain.
So, let's go back to this because you've just mentioned about recipes, which you and I have never spoke about doing this. But does an NFT physically have to be collectible, or can it be something that is stored somewhere completely different that you're not collecting for any reason? You're just purchasing because you're helping someone out.
But that's actually how all started. So first of all, it started with just that you have a piece of digital art stored somewhere, and then that you can collect it, keep it for yourself, and then depends per community of the people who would like to hold that. That is how the price was going up, and then this is how it become more rareable than usual. And then with adoption of smart contracts, which added another layer of possibilities that actually created another avenue of functional world functional NFTs, where right now you can have a piece of picture, let's call it like that, and then you have additional features of that piece which you are purchasing or which you are collecting. So in a case of recipes, particularly right now when it comes to NFTs in hospitality, now you have famous chefs who are actually adding their recipes on the which are stored on the blockchain, plus maybe creating some reservation for that restaurant, plus as well also some additional things which you could get through just purchase of that NFTs. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you as a user need to consume that. You can actually store it somewhere and then sell it, I don't know, in a month or two or a year, depends per how famous the chef will become. Let's take it as an example.
I'm glad you mentioned all about this whole selling NFTs and kind of going this way, because we've a piece of trivia, which is quite interesting. And it's still scary to think that this actually happened in Christie's in London about 2 years ago. Darko, tell us, at the first NFT that was ever sold,
Yeah, the
how
first NFT
expensive was it?
sold by Mike Winkelmann, and it was sold by $69.3 million. So he was as well also surprised when this price came as a last price. When the price hit 20 million, he was just jumping on a chair and saying, "Yo, come on! I never dreamt in my life that this would be so valuable." And then the people will compete for that. So yeah, that's the biggest first NFT who sold for such a big amount of money. But when it comes to NFTs in general, right now we have total value about 17.3 billion US dollars in NFTs right now has been exchanged in the last year or two, year and a half, when NFT hits the market.
It's just mind blowing. I really think this is just completely crazy. And you know what? This is something you and I've had conversations about some often in the past, because I'm still very skeptical, especially about the art NFT. However, it does have huge advantages, and we're going to get towards that, especially when it comes to hospitality in the future. But for me, the skepticism comes from when you read stories about, different whiskey casks going for sale. There's now a whiskey company starting up here in Ireland that is all NFT focused. And if you're like me, a gin and whiskey lover, enthusiast, addict, you'll want to hold your bottles. You want to be able to taste them. I don't want to be looking at them through a screen or knowing it. Or we've seen recently in the headlines that people actually purchased Dune, the film, purchased the actual script of Dune, felt that they had actually access to the copyrights and the film rights, and it turns out that it was actually a fake, that the people who actually created this actually had the original token and sold them a fake token. So we're going to touch on fraud shortly as well about NFTs, but let's have a conversation, Darko, about how easily a digital file can be duplicated, because I've just touched on a little bit of fraud there. It's simple to duplicate these files. For instance, if I tried to sell you an NFT of a recipe for tomahawk steaks, I could keep the duplicate, keep the original, and just give you the duplicate where I'm still the holder of the original copy. So how easy is it to replicate these?
But it is easy if you have a technical background knowledge, because all of those things are stored on the blockchain. But the reality here is the question, who is creating them and who created those NFTs? And if you are a person in crypto, then you would be easily to determine if it's a copy, is it a fraud, or it's just a unique thing. Because if you want to be in a position of something which is really original, then I will always recommend that you do these that you purchase those on NFT marketplaces like OpenSea, Rarible. This is where actually the people are putting the NFTs, and then if they are there, then there's also controlling them, is this original or not. But nobody can stop you that you can actually do a copy of your NFT, put it somewhere on a Twitter, put your wallet address and say, Darko, here is an NFT. It costs, I don't know how much Ethereum or whatever, and you can send me directly your crypto to my wallet. And what you will get, you will just get a JPEG picture saying this is the NFT. But in reality, if you are buying NFTs on a marketplace, then you will really see it in your wallet. You will see the piece of code, or let's say the unique key of it, and that could be that it's a original one. Still, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's how can I say, that you have rights of using it. That's completely different thing, because these things are still uncertain, because NFTs do not restrict the sharing or copying of the underlying digital files, and they do not necessarily convey to the copyrights in general. So right now, if I buy something from you and you create it and you are in Ireland, that necessarily means that for me in Croatia, the same legal rights would be applicable on it. So it's still gray area when it comes to ownership as such.
I think that's really interesting. I'm going to start selling you a lot of recipes straight away through this after that, for sure. And I think actually that's the one thing we're lucky about, is that I'm not 100% massively technical. I'm getting there. But I think the NFTs are safer now. Let's talk though about actually being able to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of work going on in Telegram, Twitter, offline. What is the best way of actually selling them in a secure environment that your wallet remains untapped?
So for that, I actually, if I can share my screen. So I prepared it here for our audience. Okay, cool. So here is the example where it's explained how the interaction between buyer and seller. So if we go to the seller side, here you have, this is the one thing which I needed to explain to one of our hospitality friends. So if you want to create an NFT, then the main thing is to decide on which blockchain you would like to store it. In this case, it's Ethereum. It can be Cardano, it can be Avalanche or Solana. And then when you would like to create an NFT, then basically when you choose the blockchain, you will also need to have a digital wallet, but you can create a digital art, upload according to all rules of the network, and then this seller can then put this NFT to the marketplace, and this is where then the people can see what it is, what are the benefits, and all of these things, and decide would they purchase it or not. Then, of course, if you are a buyer, still you need to be in the same network. You need to still have a digital wallet, and then you go on a marketplace, like as I said, OpenSea, which is the most famous one, and there you do the purchasing of that NFT. And then where the NFT is stored, it is stored in your digital wallet. So this is why I need to emphasize that keeping these digital wallets safe, and as well also how can I say, hidden from people whom you don't want to see them, because once they, let's say, steal it, it's a finished story for the buyer, and as well also for the person who purchased it.
I absolutely love how you say it's a finished story. That's it. It's game over. Done. Dusted. It's gone. Well, that's actually really interesting for people to actually be able to see that. And we'll load this up as well as a separate image underneath the link for the show, so that you'll be able to actually view it properly in person as well. And if you've got any questions, hit up Darko, because this guy knows absolutely everything to do with NFTs and selling, for sure. He even tried to convince someone this week to actually sell their X-ray as an NFT. It's a work in progress. Pretty certain there'll be an NFT of an X-ray of a dodgy finger coming towards you. Sorry, Judy. Darko, let's have another trivia of obviously where to buy NFTs.
So
where do we buy them?
I actually prepared here. This is a Marriott, because Marriott was the first chain who actually created a partnership with a very famous artist. And this person created 3 NFTs of Marriott. And so if you, this is publicly on OpenSea, and if you can see here, the floor price is 0.01 Ethereum. So if we take in consideration that Ethereum is today around 2,100 euros, that means that is around 210 euros starting price of that NFT. I actually clicked on it, and I wanted to review it a little bit. It is an interesting piece of digital art, but what is important here is that I wanted to see the description of the NFT, and I didn't find anything which could be more attractive for me, besides this is a really nice 3D digital piece of art from Marriott. It doesn't necessarily mean that maybe in the future they will add something like a free accommodation, or maybe some hidden gems which you can visit in the future. That doesn't necessarily mean, but for the beginning, right now, this is the what Marriott did. Then, if we go further, when it comes to, let's say, recipes, which we are speaking here, so this is another example where the chef Marcus Hamilton's created, together in combination with Stella Artois, they created a first NFT where it's basically you are buying this picture, but in a background of all of this, you have the recipe of this chef. You also have some possibility to have a dinner with this chef. So that's something which is really interesting as another layer why I would like to go and purchase this NFT.
I think that's really interesting, for sure. If Stella was to give some extra alcohol into there and post it to my house, well, yeah, I'll definitely think about it. But right now, absolutely not. But again, this just goes to show how powerful NFTs can be for hospitality. And I think for sure Marriott's idea of targeting their emotional journey with this NFT in particular was actually towards the customer that is a very client-based Marriott person. Someone who travels, only uses Marriott, is a member of their Bonvoy club, and you will want to have that piece of history with you, that emotional journey within the Marriott space. And I think that's what the future of hospitality will bring as we venture towards all these pieces, for sure. It's an emotional journey. It's showing us items that we haven't been able to see, feel, or touch in quite a long time, because we haven't been able to travel in quite a long time. And I do think that's the important part of everything with it when we're looking at the digital art, the digital age. As we come away from that, I do want to touch on a little bit more in regards to the NFT adoption in hospitality. You've just spoke about NFT art for members through Marriott. We've just spoke about recipes. I've touched on the fact that NFTs are now coming into the hospitality world through the drinks and beverage. What other way can hospitality now adopt NFTs, Darko, to be able to showcase their future, that they're moving in the right way with technology?
So what I have noticed, in if we look at the like a year ago, it was explosion, as I said, uh, NFTs, which were only related to art. Then how the time was passing, then it hit the area of videos, it hit the area of music. And now we are here when it comes particularly about the hospitality industry, is that we have two venues. One is venue which is going to a metaverse, where the hoteliers are seeing a possibility being present in the metaverse, in general metaverse, and then as well also this black velvet momentum. So where you have unique restaurants which no one know their location, that it's really everything is so hidden and no one knows what it is and how it will look. And then what they're doing is that right now these restaurants are creating hidden and NFTs, which you can actually purchase on the blockchain. And price of these NFTs is actually right now skyrocketing. Last restaurant who is going into that direction, they sold around 150 unique NFTs, which where you can get the whole menu in it. You will have like many perks, like you will be a part of this social club of that restaurant. You and as well also, if you don't like the style of the restaurant afterwards when they open it, you will be able to sell it to somebody else. So that is how these NFTs are evolving. And I was really surprised because the price of that NFT's starting price was $15,000 per one piece, and the restaurant is not even open. So these are the things which are for sure influencing hospitality industry, and this opening of the new restaurants, opening of new hidden gems, which no one doesn't know how they will look. This is something what is attracting people, and this is through the NFTs who can get their audience to buy those such stuff. But when it comes as well also to metaverse, the thing here is that we have a first hotels, crypto hotel. So hotel chain UniQ have opened actually a first crypto first metaverse hotel in their metaverse world, where you can where you can check in, check out, where you can be a part of this virtual experience of in a metaverse. So these are the things which for sure will be a starting positions for something really big.
I love the way you mentioned the metaverse, because that is exactly where I was going. You and I have had conversations about this last week or the week before about checking into a hotel on the metaverse. I have different ideas behind this, and I'm not a fan of it. I've attended metaverse events. I think they're really cool. Conference wise, it's quite cool. I'm not a person for wearing a VR headset. However, I don't think metaverse hotels is the way forward. And this is me being like very controversial about this, because hospitality means people. It means physically going to a hotel, checking in, experiencing the property full on, including food. I can't imagine sitting in a five-star luxury property in the Seychelles using a VR headset, ordering this amazing food, and then just going out to make chips and eggs for dinner.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, it's very depressing. But you have different ideas on this.
And look, the thing here is that what this metaverse is aiming, it's aiming the new generations, you know. And if we look at the crypto, so basically we have right now almost around 100 million people who are somehow connected to crypto in general. So it's not it's not strange that Marriott is exploring those things. You know, first of all, it started with NFT. Now it will start with a little bit of buying some virtual land in, let's say, Sandbox or something like that. It could be also as well also in the how it's called. Uh, not Sandbox. Can you help me? This what the kids are playing this game. Not Roblox. Yes, exactly, Roblox. So that's the one thing what for sure can happen, where my daughters are playing it, and I think that maybe for them this would be fully normal experience. But for us, if let's say I have a desire to let's say to check something like that, but if inside of this virtual world I can purchase some NFT or some ticket which will actually enable me to go in a real hotel, that might be for this period of time connection between virtual and real one, so just that we are part of that world. But in general, I think that generations which are right now used to mobile phones, the generations which are right now, which is normal for them that they are buying crypto via Robinhood apps or something like that, that these guys will have a desire to practice that. And as will also be part of that. I still believe, as you said, and also for me, that going in a physical hotel is much more nicer experience than being in a virtual. But you never know how fast this virtual world will evolve and in which direction we will we will go with it. But that's something which is for sure in front of us.
What's really important is the last time we had this conversation, you really brought to the forefront that hospitality technically did create this virtual world because of how they adopted the Google videos and Google pictures. Because that's what we were saying, that, I personally think the metaverse is going to be great for hotels, especially for being able to do virtual wedding shows, or for guests to be able to see and experience the whole show of the hotel prior to arrival. So if they're kind of looking at 3 or 4 hotels and they want to make a comparison, you're able to experience that being in a property. But Google actually kind of created this metaverse years ago using their Google hotel pictures, which everybody paid for.
Yeah.
And I think you are right. It is only the natural step towards being able to offer the guest an additional service prior to arrival, getting them, capturing them in. I think it's almost like a very cool marketing technique. And I think the first hotels that really start to adopt this technology and bring it to the forefront are going to be the winners in this. Like, imagine if you're a bride and a groom, you don't want to be traveling around looking at multiple hotels every weekend or even midweek when the hotel isn't busy to be able to pick your right venue. At least you're able to stick on your VR goggles or use your phone and actually have that full experience as if you're walking into the property as a bride or a groom, dancing on the, and being able to experience that. That's something that no one really can, unless you actually are lucky to attend a wedding in the venue beforehand. But then that's kind of shunned upon, picking someone else's venue. I think that's the way forward. I struggle with this whole idea of staying in a hotel virtually and having to cook all my meals and have to wash all my linen. I can do that here on a daily basis.
No, but you are totally right. This is how I'm seeing as well, so that's the reason why Adidas, that's the reason why Nike, that's the reason why all of these sports merchandising, they are entering this metaverse world, and they want to be a part of this new business opportunity through the new ecosystems. But the reality here that the physical goods, you will still need to go and pick the shoes from the Nike shop in your city. So, but if I'm playing a game and I'm walking around this imaginary city and I'm seeing, let's say, Hilton property, and as you said, I want to get married, and Hilton share with me that they have this possibility to explore their property in a virtual world. I can go there, do that, explore it, and then maybe find some directions or NFT which will enable me to go in a real world Hilton and, let's say, book my wedding there. So that's for sure some possibility as such. Or I don't know, you have people who are really right now renting the rooms in a virtual hotels, for some people who want to do some virtual party. And both of us, during the pandemic and even right now, at the beginning, we were part of these virtual events where actually we were replicating the same thing what the people are doing right now in the metaverse world, to be honest. So you had the opportunity to explore that, even myself. So would that replace me being happy meeting Christina virtual right now? I'm happy meeting you now. I'm happy. But if we are in Dublin and being somewhere in a pub, that would be a completely different experience. We cannot hear you.
Yes, without NFTs being involved, maybe around a kebab, an argument about it, but no NFTs involved. But yeah, I know you just can't take away the personal touch that comes from hospitality. But before we finish up, I just want to go back to this conversation about reservations and opening hotels and opening restaurants with NFTs, because I think it's just mind blowing. You're paying 16 grand not to be guaranteed a seat anyway. So, this is where I think a lot of people's skepticism comes into NFTs, is that when it's almost, but I think people need to realize as well, it's like this Kickstarter program that you can actually fund these items. And that's what you are doing in a lot of these cases. Not only are you buying a chair or a seat at a table, you're actually funding these.
Exactly.
And startups are on NFTs and they really rely on NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are totally right. And if we are converting that to let's say just a idea of, imagine that if you want to book a table in a restaurant and you are not doing that, you are buying a NFT reservation for that restaurant. That means that you are pre-crediting a restaurant for your arrival, and if you do not want to come, you can actually sell it to somebody else, and if it's a famous restaurant, you can sell it for a really good price. So that's something which is also on the table through the NFTs, and it's a very interesting possibility for exploring that area. And as you said, yeah, this is how the startup are financed right now through NFTs. Also the restaurants, the first ones. And to be honest, when I was doing research about these things in a particularly in the restaurant industry, I'm telling you that Gary Vaynerchuk, he is actually the one who have these two restaurants ideas, and they are right now in the launching phase. So I will really pay close attention on that and to see how all of this have ended up and what was the result. But according to social media and the whole buzz about it, and the floor price around $15,000, that is telling me that the audience is there. So I would really be happy to see that.
I think the next level in this is going to be hotel funding for properties. Instead of going towards investments, you're actually looking at investments through NFTs. And I definitely think that's going to be something that people in Western Europe won't jump on board. I think this is more people out in Asia Pacific who are very much heavily invested in the crypto world a lot more, and in the blockchain world a lot more, for sure. And just as we're talking, people are now absolutely signing deals with crypto and with blockchain companies. Man United just flashed up on my phone. I'm not a United fan, but they've just signed a 20 million euro deal with a blockchain company, Tezos. So it just goes to show that the power that's there when it comes to marketing as well, from a social media side of marketing, it's there. Once you start tying the brands with your coins, with yourself, it only pushes yourself further.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think that we should observe that business niche. Particularly, this is where crypto and the hospitality world are overlapping, and I think that this is what would be interesting to monitor. But also, I'm really interested in seeing different ideas and different approaches, because, as I told you, 6 months ago, you barely had this kind of combination between recipes, accommodation, possible black belt momentums for new restaurants, etc., hotels. So that was really something completely new. And then suddenly you even have web agencies who are approaching restaurants that they can actually do for them the whole NFT story. So you, from the digital point of view, you have another venue which this crypto is sparking, and which is which is coming to the hospitality world.
It's amazing. And I think we all just need to watch the space and see what's going to happen in hotels, restaurants, food and beverage industry, especially in the next 6 months to a year. I do believe it's going to take off massively. Join us on our next show, because we're going to be talking about fraud, all about fraud with NFTs. I am so excited about this, because again, I am like a skeptical person, whereas Darko is so into the technical side. So join us, and then we're going to be following up then with a conversation about hotel distribution, revenue. We're going to talk about all the way through the blockchain, how to explain everything to you in the next coming episodes. So keep it with us on DK Talks. See you again.
Thanks. Goodbye, guys.